Yoga TV. Every month we're going to focus on a different part of the body, and we're going to begin with our hips. And there's a few reasons why we're going to choose to begin with our hips. One of the main reasons is that if you're like a normal person, your hips feel like somebody poured crazy glue into them. They're tight, they're stuck, when you get up they ache. And there's so many reasons for this. One big reason is that, as 2011 would have it, we're sitting down a lot. We're on buses, we're on trains, we're sitting in an office. And what that does is it takes our hip flexors and it crunches them up. It makes them really small, when what they want to do is be released and long. And unless you purposely stretch them out, it's not going to happen. Another thing is tension. We tend to hold a lot of our tension in our hips, in our lower body. Just everyday things such as walking, running, biking, they require a lot of hip strength, but not hip flexibility. So we're going to begin with pigeon pose. Although there's so many good benefits of it, there are a few reasons why you shouldn't do it. Here are some benefits of pigeon pose.
Pigeon pose elongates the back, opens the hips, psoas, and hamstrings, and relieves pressure on the lower back and sciatica. Your hips are a keystone to your body and its proper functioning. Open hips improve your posture, alignment, and overall flexibility. Open hips also release the negative feelings and energy from your system, since stress, tension, and anxiety are often stored there.
Please take note of the following precautions.
Always consult your physician and research a properly trained teacher before you start a yoga practice. There are a few instances when you should avoid this pose entirely or ask your yoga instructor to show you a modified version of the pose.
Now, let's get back to those hips. Okay, so we're going to begin pigeon pose, and I have Kim here. And Kim is an athlete. She plays volleyball. She's at the gym 5 days a week. So although she has the strength, the flexibility in the hips might be a little tough. So what Kim's going to do is she's going to come down onto the mat, and she's going to come onto all fours with her hands on her knees. This is called table pose. Good, nice, Kim. And you're going to take your right knee and slide it out towards your right wrist. Nice, then you're going to bring your left ankle parallel to your left wrist. Good, and hold it right there for a second, Kim. Now, Kim actually does have a nice amount of flexibility in her hips. If she didn't, she would take her left ankle and bring it a lot closer here. Good, and this is going to be a little less strenuous on the hips if that's too much of a stretch. But since Kim can do it, she's going to walk the foot back out as far as you can. So this is something you're going to want to feel. You're going to feel a big stretch in the right side of your body right now, and in the left hip flexor here. But you don't want to feel a pain. So if it's shooting, if it's sharp, keep that foot in close to you. And what we're going to do is, Kim's form is perfect. Her back leg is straight. Her foot is straight. We're going to take something to bring under her left hip. So ideally, we want this left hip lying flat on the mat. So if you have a blanket, you can do that. I don't. I have a little sweater. Works just as well. You're going to roll it up, depending on how high your hip is, and you're going to slide it underneath. And what you want to do is you want to have this thick enough, this looks like it's perfect for Kim, so you can rest your hip down onto the blanket or the soft object that you have. So what Kim's going to do is, if she feels okay, she's going to begin to walk her hands forward. Good, and then lowering the chest down towards the mat. Really nice. You can bring your forehead down too. And this is great here. So she's keeping the length in the side. She has her forehead down on the floor. You do want your head resting on something. If it doesn't touch the ground, you can take a stack of books, you can take a sweater, you can take almost anything there. Place it right on. We have Courtney here. And Courtney works in an office. She lives in Long Island. She takes an hour-and-a-half commute sitting on a train. So Courtney felt that her hips are really tight. And if you feel like that, we're going to show you another variation. So you're going to begin by coming and sitting down. Good, and then you're going to come to lie on your back. Nice, your knees will stay up. You're going to take your right ankle and cross it over your left knee. Nice, and then you're going to take your right hand, reach it through the space between your legs, and the left hand around as well. Good. Now, important here, relax your head down on the mat. All right, hold here for 1 moment. So that's a common tendency that once we're reaching for the leg, we're going to lift the head up off the mat. And that's something we want to avoid. It puts a lot of tension on the neck, a lot of tension here on the traps, the shoulders. Your head will stay down on the mat. And now, this looks right, Courtney. You're going to bring the left knee in closer towards you. Beautiful. And this is something you can just stay here and you can hold here. I'm sure Courtney feels a nice stretch here on the right side. Taking about 5 to 10 breaths. If this feels like okay and you think you can go a little further, what Courtney's going to do is she's going to reach around and take the front of the shin. Nice. Still that same idea of bringing the left knee in close to you. And this is perfect, Courtney. She'll stay here and she'll breathe. So thank you for joining us for this week's episode of Yoga TV. We look forward to seeing you next week. We'll continue working on our hips for the rest of the month. And by the end, we'll have nice, agile hips. Thank you to Courtney for coming here with her busy 9 to 5 job. Thanks to Kim for giving up volleyball to be here.